Filing taxes is getting even more complicated for millions of Americans this year. People who fail to get health insurance under the Affordable Care Act must pay a penalty, and even those who enrolled could owe the government money. Barbara Harrington explains who's being impacted and what it will mean for their bank accounts.
I wear a lot of hats.
Between flipping eggs as the executive chef at an Indiana University sorority and owning her own food truck, Jackie Howard doesn't have much time to rest.
Definitely on my feet, running constantly.
Going non-stop caused Howard to hurt her back last year. She was forced to take more than 3 weeks off work, and she had to pay significant out-of-pocket expenses for medical care because she doesn't have insurance.
Darcy.
Howard qualifies for insurance on the federal marketplace, but when she logged on last year and tried to sign up for coverage,
I found that it was going to cost me a little over $300 a month to have health insurance, which is basically all the extra money I have in a given month.
So she rolled the dice, but now, in addition to the bills she's still paying off, she's facing a new expense, a penalty on her taxes.
It's going to cost me about $400. That's about 1/3 to 1/2 of my typical refund, which is a huge hit. I mean, like most people, I take that refund and make big purchases, or most years it's actually my savings.
The H&R Block in Stanford is just as busy as the highway it sits next to, helping customers like Howard. Tax preparer Lee Lincoln says lots of folks have come through their doors with questions about how much not getting health care coverage is going to cost them.
People didn't know how much the penalty was going to be. Most of them were told it's $95, but that would be $95 for every person in your tax household, or 1% of your income, whichever's higher. So a lot of people that made $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, they may have $500, $1,000 penalties potentially.
But the Congressional Budget Office estimates about 23 million of the uninsured won't have to pay. There are a number of exemptions. Among them, people who don't make enough money to file a tax return don't have to pay the penalty. Neither do those who have an income below 138% of the federal poverty level, as long as they're ineligible for Medicaid. People who pay an insurance premium that exceeds 8% of their income are also exempt.
There's a long list of others that are a little more arcane. I would say out in the counties here, where there's a lot of farmers and such, a lot of people working factories or low-paying jobs, most of them are not going to pay the penalty.
But some of the exemptions are only good for this year. For example, people who had problems signing up because of website issues might not have to pay, but they won't be able to rely on the same exemption for the 2015 tax year, when penalties double. The fees will increase to $325 for each uninsured adult, or 2% of a person's income, whichever is greater. And that's a lot of money for people who say they can't afford insurance.
I talked to a woman just the other day who was looking at an $835 fine based upon her income, and her income was not high.
Cover Monroe President David Meyer says that's why the ACA volunteers of Monroe County are making a big push to get people covered by February 15th, when the open enrollment period ends. Those who aren't insured by the deadline will face penalties on their 2015 taxes.
We're asking them to do 3 things, and that is, first, find out how much it would cost for you to get health insurance. I mean, do it immediately. So you figure out what is the value, what is the financial equation, what will it really cost me? The second point is find out whether you're exempt from coverage. And the third question is, what will be my penalty? What will I have to pay if I don't get coverage?
Meyer says once people have all of that information, it all comes down to one question. What's more valuable to each individual? Health insurance or expendable income? That's a question Howard's been asking herself a lot as the deadline for open enrollment approaches.
I'm reconsidering getting health insurance. I can't decide. I still can't afford it at over $300 a month. But the next year the penalty doubles, and that could potentially be my entire refund, and it's a big decision to make.
Cover Monroe has several events next week to help people sign up for coverage through the federal marketplace. The Congressional Budget Office estimates about 30 million non-elderly residents will still be uninsured in 2016.